Okay, so tonight I wanted to talk about how to how to attract, I guess, attract the right people, attract the right people in your target market, in your niche, right? You want to attract the right people. We want to call out um, the right kind of people and create content that attracts those types of people so that we're not feeling like we have to go and like hunt people down, right? Because that's the last thing that we want to feel like as business owners. And that's the last thing that we really want to do, especially in this type of business where it already kind of has like a weird connotation around it, and it already has like a weird stigma around it. So I really just wanted to kind of give you a few tips. I have like 3-ish tips um, that I want to share. And these just kind of came from, I always listen to different podcasts and books and things like that. So a few, I'll give you the names of them just real quick before I forget, but like a few podcasts that are really great and just kind of like people that I've been following about this type of thing. Michelle Myers is one of them on Instagram, and Kayla Ibanez is one of them. And I listened to like the podcast, Melanie Mitro's podcast, Women Inspiring Women, and her podcast with Katie Make Chic Happen. And they really, and then of course, like your virtual upline with Bob Heilig, and just, I kind of just like dive into some of those trainings to like get more, to wrap my head around more network marketing training and just how to better serve. Because guys, we have a social media based business that's not ever going to change unless you decide that you don't want to build your business on social media. And so that's where like our market is, and that's where the people are, and that is where things are constantly changing, and social media constantly changes. And so I really you really have to be flexible with this business and the type of things that you're putting out there. And you can't just cast a net and hope that you catch a fish, right? Like you can't just cast a net in an ocean of people and like hope you catch somebody, because it's never going to happen. And you're always going to feel like you're chasing and like you're burnt out and like you're spinning your tires and like you are hitting a wall and nobody's joining and nobody's signing up with you, and nobody's replying to your messages and everyone's ghosting you, and you've sent out 50 messages and you haven't had a single reply. That should tell you something. And if what you're doing is not working, you have to change it up, regardless of what I've told you to do, regardless of what your upline coach has told you to do, regardless of what the resources in our team page has told you to do. You have to change it up, because I don't know what's working for you, right? And you are the only one that knows that. You're the only one that knows what you're putting out there, what you're saying in your invites. And if you're just like hitting a wall and saying that nobody's joining you, or you haven't recruited a coach in like the last 30 days at least, then something's got to change. And that really is probably going to come down to the content that you're putting out there. We are moving towards the time of content being absolute king. Like you have to be putting out good content, valuable content, content that people are invested in emotionally and consciously. And you have to understand that like what you share and the types of content that you share, whether it's telling a story about your life, whether it's sharing something valuable that you're educated on, that your network doesn't know, or you're seeing it in your newsfeed that you just have a different stance on something. Regardless, you have to be thinking and having an open mind, and always be thinking about what you can be sharing. Anything throughout your day, from when you wake up in the morning to when you go to bed at night, anything throughout your day that you are doing that could help somebody else and provide value to somebody else's life. Value is a broad spectrum, a broad range, right? So anything that can provide value, you have to be documenting, and you should be sharing it, right? Although it seems like tedious, and although it seems like, I'm sharing everything, or I'm taking a picture of everything and sharing it, or I'm putting everything that I'm doing, like literally every hour of my day, on stories, that's what people want to see, is the behind the scenes, how you're living your life, because you are a person of influence. If you are a network marketer, that's how you should be looking at yourself, is as a person of influence. And how can you step into that role with your market, right? Not anybody else's. I can't reach your people, right? And you don't have reach in my network. We all have our own networks, and that's what makes this business so compounding, is like, I can't reach your people. You can reach your people. And those people that you help get started, they each then have their own network. Yes, some people overlap because, mutual friends and things like that. But when you get good and practice these few tips that I'm going to give you, you will start to narrow down, and you'll start to attract those people instead of feeling like you have to go out and chase them. In fact, I'm going to be 100% transparent with you. I don't believe that you have to go send 100 invites a day, 100 cold message invites a day. I don't teach that. I don't do it myself. Some days I have 0 invites, but that's because I stockpile my invites. Most of the time I might have I'll have a handful, but I'll stockpile my invites around when I'm heavily adding value, heavily promoting, heavily putting content out there that's attracting people. And I think that's really important to understand. I don't send 100 invites a day. I don't even send 50 invites a day. I start new conversations. I add people to my network. I add new friends to my network, people that I have seeked out. Is that a word? Seeked out, and went to their profile, looked at who they were, made sure they're not already a coach, made sure they're not already, even if they're in another industry or another business industry or another business in this industry, I seek them out. Do I want to be friends with them? Would I want them to be a customer of mine? Would I love for them to be part of my team? I network that way, and I add people to my network, but I do not send out a million messages a day. And I don't believe that you have to do that in order to build a business, because it's kind of like casting that big net, right? You might send out 100 messages or 200 messages, like 100 messages a week even, and you might get a few people interested, right? Like, that's the chance you take with cold messaging. And I just don't believe that you have to do that in order to build a business. Some people do. Some people teach it. Some people have great success with it, who maybe have already built up their social media, who maybe already have 1 million followers or a ton of followers and have really great engagement and have built that up, where they can go out and cold message and they can get, a great response from it, because they've already built up their level of influence. But for people who are building their business and who are still building their network on social media, I really think it's about attracting. And that's how I built my business, is through attraction marketing, through attraction networking. And because I just got sick of having to go chase people and having to go message, 1 million people with maybe 1 or 2 people responding. Like, what I was spending my time on I was not getting that return. And so I had to kind of adjust, and I had to kind of go, okay, what can I be doing to bring people to me, to open my pipeline, to, increase my prospect list, to increase my network, to add more friends, new people. And that's why I always say you should be running a free group every single month. I don't care what it's about. I don't care if it's just drinking water. You should be running a free group every single month. And that's what I did. That's what built my business for 2 years. Because I'm like, how can I bring people to me and not have to make them feel like I'm just trying to like sell them something, or I'm just trying to like get in their pocketbook, right? I was going to say pants, but that's totally not appropriate. Get in their pocketbook. And so, you know, I ran free groups all the time. Every single month I ran a new free group, and I was still running my challenge group, still bringing on, still hitting Success Club, and still bringing on new coaches, but I was running a free group. So enough about that. Let's get into some of the tips, because I don't want to keep you forever. So a few of the tips that I have. Number one is you have to get specific about who you're wanting to help, what you can provide them, what solution you can provide them, and how it's going to benefit them. I think it's so common when we sign up as a coach, or even just in network marketing in this type of business. But when we sign up as a coach, we just like, we cast that net and we try to get everybody, and we try to speak to everybody, and we try to get the masses. And it's just, it doesn't work, because people just feel like a number. And when you speak to everybody, nobody listens. You're just another thing in their newsfeed, and they just keep scrolling, right? Because they just feel like a number. You're not speaking to them. So you have to get specific about who you're helping. And if you have to, like, I did so much of this types of training, like about finding your niche and finding your avatar and finding your social media BFF. And the common theme that I kept having to go through, like the thing I had to keep doing was writing down who I want to help and what I want to help them with. And guys, I've been a coach for 7 years. It's changed. Like, my niche has changed over the years, from being, in the workforce, working full time, to being a wife, new wife, and now being a mom of 3. Being a new mom, that was a whole nother like niche, and a whole nother target market. But now being a mom of 3, kids, 5 and under, that's a whole different target market. And so you really have to get specific about who you're helping. You can't help everybody, right? You cannot help everybody. You can't help women lose weight and feel good. What does that mean? Because there's a lot of women who want to lose weight and feel good. But that means nothing if I were to see that in my newsfeed. I'm a woman. I want to lose weight and feel good. But that means nothing to me, because you're speaking to like billions of people, billions of women who want the same thing. So a good question or statement that you can ask yourself, or write down. What I did was I went through I just went through like the characteristics. I wrote down everything that I saw and envisioned in this person that I wanted to help, just this one woman that I wanted to help. And this one woman represents my niche, my market of people. But I had to narrow it down to just like I was speaking to one woman, right? And that one woman, the characteristics are more than likely going to reflect where you were at prior to getting started. And that's why speaking to that one person on social media is so powerful. It's so powerful because there's at least one person who can relate to your story. And people take themselves and they insert themselves into your story because they can relate to everything you're saying. And just like I was reading when my coach was posting about her life and the things she wanted, I'm very driven by challenge. I'm very much motivated by earning a lot of money and making a lot of money. I lack consistency, and I lack work ethic, like a discipline in certain areas of my life. I don't need to be motivated to work out. Like, I don't need motivation for that. So like, I didn't relate to people who were like talking about like the motivation to work out, because that was already instilled in me. It's like brushing my teeth. I do it every day. I don't need to be motivated. It's just a thing now. So the characteristics, I would take pen to paper and I would write down what she looked like, how old she was, where she lived, how she dressed, the things she liked, the things she didn't like, the things she struggled with, the fears she had, the beliefs she felt, the self-limiting beliefs she had, things that have happened to her in the past, and like what she struggled with. What is something that she's struggling with right now, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, relationally, and where does she want to be, and where does she want to go? Get that specific. What color is her hair? What color are her eyes? How tall is she? And it really puts a picture in your brain so that every single time you go to make a post, you think of that person. You think of, and writing it down is so powerful because you're going to remember it. You can't just think of it in your brain. But you're going to be speaking to that one person. And when you narrow that down, yes, you're going to narrow your target market of who is attracted to your solution and your vision and your value that you're adding. But you're then also going to attract the outside people who are like, okay, if she can help that person get from there to there, I want to work with her, right? So it's not that you're just like narrowing your net. It's that you are having the right bait. You're having the right bait, and other fish in the sea are going to go, okay, well, that fish is biting, so I'm going to see what she's doing. So get specific about who and what your niche is, and just understand that, like, you have to have a clear message, and you have to provide a clear solution, right? And that's what I was talking about. You can't just want to help women lose weight and feel good. You can't just help women want to build confidence. Like, what does that mean? You need to get more specific. I help blank feel or achieve or whatever. College women. I help full-time working moms, or I help busy moms lose the last 15 pounds or lose the last 10 pounds. Like, get that specific, right? So a good place to put this is in your bio of Instagram and even your Facebook bio. Yes, it's great to like list the things, like, gone are the days of saying like, I'm a wife, I'm a dog mom, I like fish, I like, the color pink, I like pizza, right? Like, gone are the days of that. So it's great that people get to know you, but those are things I would put in my highlights. And in my bio, I would put your name. I would put like what you wellness coach, health and wellness coach, fitness and nutrition coach, wellness, health and wellness accountability coach, whatever you want to put, because then that also optimizes your in the search engines. When you just type that in your Instagram handle, like your name and then dash and then whatever. And then I would put, I help women, or I help whatever, like what you do, who you're helping, what you help them with, and the solution that's going to come from it. What are they going to get from it? And then I would have a call to action for a link, whether it's linked back to a free Facebook group that you just have like a free community where you're adding like value every day, or like a free like 5-day meal plan, or like whatever, 5 tips to this or that, 3 tips to this or that, like whatever. Have something free that they can take away from your page and have a reason to follow you and to continue to seek out what you provide. So have that. That's a good place to put it, is in your bio there. Okay. And just when you're thinking about who you're helping and what you're helping them with in the solution, think about the products supporting you, right? Like, our products, so the products that I'm using support me and my lifestyle, right? Not the other way around. I'm not pushing product. I'm not supporting the products to make a sale, to help the company, like to help Beachbody make more money. Like, the products are supporting me and my lifestyle, and how can I share about that? So number two, make sure that your content that you're putting out there is client-serving content instead of self-serving content. And a good way to know what to post about and how to help your people is to do market research. Like, just ask your people, why do you follow me? Or I'm working on something really fun. Tell me why you follow me. Or drop one word for like how I inspire you or how I add value to your life. Or what are things that you want to see more of from me? How can I better serve you? And then put an emoji for each thing. Like, do you want to see more recipes? Do you want to see more like motherhood, like fitness journey, postpartum fitness journey? Or ask in your stories, put two options of things that, or ask the question, do you want to see more of this? Yes or maybe, or yes or yes, or yes or I'd rather see this. But you have to do market research to understand what your people want. You can't just throw information out there and throw content out there and throw invites out there and not have any idea what's working and what's not working, right? So you have to do market research, and the only way to understand and know that is to ask. If you're not seeing a return on your conversations, if you're not getting anybody signed up, if you're sending out invites and you're not seeing anything come back and nobody's like interacting or engaging, then you got to go back to what content you're putting out there. It's either not valuable to your people and not what they want to see and read. It's not personalized enough, and it's not serving them enough, or you're just not posting enough. Like, you might put out a really great post that's like a great story, really personalized and really inspiring, and you do that like once every 3 weeks, right? So just understand that people invest when they feel like they've gotten the same value of content from you. People invest with you. People sign up with you. People will get started with you when they feel like, obviously they have to trust you, but this builds trust when they feel like they've gotten the same amount of value from you in your content, your stories, whatever you're providing. Meaning, if we have a $500 package, which we don't, I mean, you can spend $500, but let's say we have a $500 package. People need to feel like that person that you're inviting and possibly getting started with this $500 package, if they haven't gotten $500 worth of valuable content from you, that trust is not there. They just feel like a number, and they just feel like you're trying to sell them something. If we want to get somebody started with a challenge pack because it's the best value for what you're getting, especially if they need help in all areas, fitness, nutrition, support, $160, right? If they don't feel like they've gotten that value from you on social media with your content and what you're providing, that trust is not there, and they're not going to feel like you can help them find a solution and get to where they want to be, because all you're doing is trying to sell them. All you're doing is trying to get a commission. All you're doing is trying to get a success skill point. All you're doing is you're putting a number on them, right? And people can feel that. People can feel that. I get those messages in my inbox all the time with that Usborne books and with Zaya clothing or whatever it is, and with all of this stuff. And it's like, I've never talked to these people. We've never interacted. Like, I might have seen you on social media, but we've never interacted. And you don't know me from Adam. So obviously, I just feel like you're trying to sell me. And obviously, I just feel like that, especially when I get those messages, like, I'm trying to reach a big goal. It's like, I don't give a flying F if you're trying to reach a goal. I don't have time for this. Like, I got my own stuff. And you've never interacted with me to even know if I need your service or your solution, right? And the content that you put out there, like, you add no value to my life, and I don't even know what you're doing. So just understand that as well. People will invest with you when they feel like they've gotten that same in return, okay? And then number 3, you have to have vision. You have to have vision, and you have to share that vision. Christina Hewer did a great post about this. It was either today or yesterday, so go back and look at her post. It was just about her business and where she sees herself going and the women that she wants to help and the things that she wants to achieve. And it reeled me in. Like, I started reading it, and I don't take the time, a lot of time, to like go look at all of my coach's stuff and read it and like it. Like, if I see it in my newsfeed and it grabs my attention, I'll like it. But it caught my attention, and I was reading it, and it's just like I could relate with some of it, and it was her vision of where she's going. And because if I were somebody in her newsfeed, who, it was the right time for me, and I've seen her. She's so consistent with her posting. She adds tons of value in her content and in her stories, and she shows up every single day in some way, shape, or form. So I know she's consistent. I know she can help me because she's consistent, and I need to be more consistent, right? I know she's disciplined, and I need more discipline in certain areas of my life. And so I know she's great with nutrition because she shares about it. And now I see where she wants to go and the type of people she wants to help and her vision. Like, people catch vision and people want vision. People have no vision for their life anymore. They've boxed up their dreams. They've boxed up their goals. They're living in this box of a life, and this is how life is, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And this is, the track that I'm on, and this is it. Like, this is it. They have no vision anymore, especially women our age, right? Like, women our age, we don't know what we want. We don't know who we are. Like, we don't know who we are outside of motherhood. And it can be just like so draining and so exhausting. And so seeing somebody like that post about her vision and about her goals and where she's seeing, like, I want to hop on her bus because I want to go where she's going. If people don't know where you're going or what you're doing or why you're doing it or how it's positively impacting your life or how you can help them, nobody's going to join you. And if nobody has joined you or nobody's signed up with you in the last month, you have to look at what you're putting out there. And you can't just be blind to the cycle of that comfort zone of, just doing the same thing because it's what you've always done. You have to change something up. You got to get out there and do market research, and you got to ask your people, why do you follow me? How can I provide you value? What do you want to see? Are you being transparent enough? Are you sharing your beliefs? Are you taking a stance? Are you just being vanilla? Like, are you just being vanilla and you're just another thing in the newsfeed? Personally, me, I don't have time for that. Like, I can't stand people who are just like so vanilla, like they have no personality, they have no opinion, they have no stance, right? But we don't want to get into like the Napoleon people who are just like always opinionated and always like arguing about something. But you want to be that person who people know where you stand, people know what you believe, people know whether or not like they're your people or not. You don't want everyone to be your people. You don't want everyone to be attracted to you. You don't want everyone to like you. You don't want everyone to think that they belong or are, meant to be on your team. Because that's the most draining and exhausting thing, when you attract people that you don't want to get on a phone call with. I have attracted those people, and I have avoided them like the plague. And like, I was doing something wrong. The message I was putting out there was attracting people who didn't want to work hard, people who didn't want to be consistent, people who didn't want to show up, people who were afraid to believe in themselves and just not thinking, like, the no confidence and no self, because I was trying to go back to, who I thought I was. I don't know. It was a whole big mess. But you got to get clear. You got to know. You got to have vision. You have to take pen to paper, and you have to figure it out. And you have to figure it out now, because those people that aren't seeing your vision and aren't seeing your value and have no clue what you're doing or where you're going or how you can serve them, they're finding somebody else who can. And a perfect example of that is I have a coach who's good friends with a girl that my other coach signed up, and they know each other through family. But it's like, that could have been, she's not building her business anyway, but like, you see what I mean? Like, some people are looking for what we have. And if they don't know that you're out there and they don't know that you exist, they're going to go find somebody else. Okay. So those are my tips. Do we have any